So today's Sunday, and we're going to show you particularly, I guess this would apply to stuff 1998 to 2007, somewhere around there. This one's an 04. And the problem with this one is it had pump knock, so I had to replace the transfer case because it was just ripped to pieces on the inside. Now the way that happened is it had a leak because this pump vane was knocking in the inside of the case right here. You can see where it just kind of notched it out. It's often called pump rub or pump knock, but basically it results in a hole right there. You can see there's just a little pinhole, and if you were to JB weld that, as often people do, it just knocks it off again. It just rubs through. And I'm not the only one that's encountered this. When I went on the internet to look a little bit about it, I saw lots and lots of examples of the same thing where this has happened. There are many solutions to this, one of which is to use this little transfer case pump rub protector, and it just basically spreads the weight out. And I'll put a link in the description for another video of another product that does the same thing. It's a lot more expensive, costs about 4 times as much, but it does the same thing, and it's a little harder to put in. This is a cost-effective, really simple way to go. First thing you want to do is remove the drain plug. It's an 18mm on a 246, and drain all the fluid out, and then remove the transfer case. I have a whole nother video that I just posted last Wednesday on how to do this. There's a link in the description below. So here's the new transfer case. Where the leak usually occurs is right here at this point. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off the back side of it. I've got a link in the description for one on Amazon. You can find them for as little as 140 bucks. So you can either JB weld it because it's not going to be taking the hit. If you JB weld it without doing this fix, it's just going to break down almost immediately. I mean, at least within 30 days or 1,000 miles. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all the 10mm bolts out of this upper case, pull it off, and get the new part put in. So you can see this is the top of the transfer case, is indicated by the vent right here. So what I like to do is I get a couple of pry bars, just like I'm doing brakes or something, get between this and this foot here, and with all the bolts out, and double check that they're all out because you don't want to break anything. You just put them together and you just squeeze, and it'll just burp that case right apart. You can see on the top side there's this rubber plug. You want to remove the rubber plug and then take a couple of screwdrivers, hold one side of the clip and unclip the other side, and it releases the shaft so that you can get the top of the case off. Once you have the clip undone, it's easy to just take the case and roll it up and off. You can see this is where the clip clips into place. You can see another shot of it here inside. So there should be a little sleeve or clip or whatever you want to call it in here. It's missing. And then when you look inside, you can see that this one's about worn through. You can see where the damage is right there. And turn it this way, you can see it some more. So that's the whole reason we're putting this in, is so that it doesn't wind up leaking right here like the last one did. The last one leaked there, it ran out of fluid, and it destroyed basically the transfer case ate itself. So here we are looking from the top. Here's the clip we were looking for. We're just going to discard it. So here's where things get a little different when you're using the Adapta case versus something like the Merchant Automotive. The Merchant Automotive one is awesome, it's fantastic, but it's expensive and it's harder. With this one, we don't have to pull off this clip. This has to come off to get the bearing and everything else off. We'll get down to the plate. Might as well pull it first, it gives you more room when you're removing your Torx screws. So spread it open. You want to check and make sure that there's not anything that's just ripped apart or anything with a lot of play here. It's better to find it now than to miss it. Try doing this without the right kind of snap ring pliers. It would suck. I'll put a link in the description for those too. You can see it's got grippy little cross cut or hatching. It's a good thing because it's still slipping off. looked easy because of editing, but it wasn't easy. Here's where all our dirt came from. It's on these splines. And you make sure to clean and wipe that off before I put this back together. So it got thrown into the dirt. So just lay out a clean rag or something, just lay them in order. Just set them off to the side. So if you use a merchant automotive one, you may not need to use this little clip here. But with ours, we can go ahead and use it. Alright, it's time to pull the little pump piece off. Now watch your hose on the side here. You don't want to torque that or mess it up. Cuidado! Just take that hose off. That's probably the best thing to do right there. There you go. So just remember that your window's on this side and your pointer is to the bottom. And then that'll enable you to get your plate on correctly. I don't know if these are keyed up or not. We've got the little hose pulled off so that we're not torquing on that. Scared the crap out of me. I thought I stripped it. I was going to have to do all kinds of hassling to get into that. Make sure to put Loctite on these going back in, even if you didn't like taking it out. Smell that. Be putting these in by hand. There you go. Off with the old. So this is the factory one. It's made out of aluminum, but then those things are so skinny, you just hack right into it. See how the pump works? Isn't that cool? The shaft moves, this actually stays still. Now let's say that we're not going with the Merchant Automotive solution and we use the Adaptacase one. Here's what you do. Basically you get rid of this. Ours came off. Basically this takes the place of it. So where you see the tab sticking up right here and where the old piece was, you can just get a screwdriver and pop it off. You just basically take it like this. You can see where it's got a little window for the pointer right there. So you just take it and set it in. And this reinforces all of them so that you don't run into the same problem. This is just the one that leaks though. You see this one's not leaking yet, knock on wood, but not on the case. Haha. You see where the little line is for your transfer case right there. We're looking good. We're going to go ahead and put this back together. Now sometimes you have to machine away the corner in these. It looks like I won't have to, but sometimes there's a little rounding just depending on the casting. My understanding, and I reserve the right to be wrong, that you might have to chisel out the corners in these a little, as the casting might be a little more rounded on some than others. Alright, let's put this homajama together again. As this goes on the case, you just line it up on here, just throw it on over the top. This is my first time using this product. Didn't even know it wasn't even on my radar until I got billed 3 times too much for it, but there you go. It's a whole lot cheaper than going the other route. The other local shop was going to sell me a merchant one for $100. I was too impatient to wait a day. And then again, if I were to order it direct, it'd be $75. That's the same price and it's here today. So alright, let's make sure that our case halves are clean. I'm going to do a dry fit first and make sure that this will go down on there all the way. If it won't, and we still use this with ours, if it won't, then I'm going to, there's no timing on these, you just drop it on. Position sensor says it's an exciter ring, which is exciting, of course. Get that to go on. Get our clip on. You didn't see me, but I put blue Loctite on the screws going on there. Alright. Should go on a lot easier. That was stupid easy compared to how hard it was to get off. Make sure that we're clipped in all the way around. We are. Marvelous. Good heavens to Betsy. So we want to line up our little clip here. I got to rotate it around to get it to fit in there. But this is a little clip that made it hard to take off, so we want to make that just right in the middle. So I've dry fit it. There's no gap. Everything's nice and good. If there is a gap, make sure you take care of it either by squaring out your corners or whatever it takes. Don't just suck it in with the bolts or you'll break something. That's important. Write that down. While you have your case halves apart and you're getting your adaptive case being, I don't know what stupid letter. I tried to find out what it was from the factory. The guy didn't even know. Some family name thing. B-R-N-Y. It's like Barney or something. So anyway, there's a magnet here. You want to get the magnet out and clean it because any of your crud, it'll jump up and grab your pliers, matter of fact. So you look at all that gasket material from the last guy that used this really, you know, goopy, weird stuff. I use Permatex Right stuff. It works awesome. And then it doesn't plug stuff up. That was a close one. I almost slipped. So take your magnet, get it nice and clean. You can just take a rag and wipe it off. Anytime you have a chain or metal gears that are meshing together, you're going to get a little metallic dust. So you just want to take your rag and wipe it off like this. And get your dental tool. If you don't have dental tools, I'll put a link for those. They're in the description too. On Amazon, of course. So get your little tool, pull out any other extra little goodies that you have in there. It's all wiped off, you put it back in, and that way your transfer case will last a whole lot longer than if you don't. So that's right where the pump sump is. Alright, make sure that you got an O-ring still in there where the pump is in here. So if you don't, you won't have suction. It's like when you have a soda straw or something that you're drinking a big gulp or whatnot and you're sucking on it. If there's a crack in the straw, you'll know pretty quick because you won't get good flow. That's what will happen if your O-ring's not inside of there. So make sure it's present. Here, present, roll call. Alright, so next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take some brake cleaner. I'm going to clean all the way around here and hit it with Permatex Right stuff or black silicone. So I got all the old gasket goo off so it's not going to wind up in my pump again. So then I take a really thin bead of Permatex Right stuff. This stuff is nuts. I've pressed for them so much. I've advertised this in so many videos. They ought to be sending me product. They don't, but they should. Probably don't even know I exist. I'm all alone in the world. Nobody knows who I am. You guys know. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Makes it all worth it. Alright. Just cruising right along. I'm getting about a half smush on this. Maybe a little more. This stuff's just awesome. You want it to stand up off of there a little bit. If you smush it real thin, it's not going to be the same as if it's just a little thick but skinny. Like you say, you don't want it to be down in your pump like that last crap. Whatever the heck this is, I don't know what this is. Whoever, the last rebuilder used that crap, I don't like it. And obviously it was detrimental to, you know, what was going on here. Potentially anyway. This still looks awesome. It looks great. So we take our case, this side's already been cleaned. Alright, we're looking fantastic. Whole point's to not leak, right? So we're just double checking here. So I'm tipping this side to side this way, trying to get it to seat properly. And we're there. Do a little test squish, make sure that it's squishing down properly here. Get that Slide down, there we go. If I can see it squish out this side, then I know I've got enough on. I'm just going really lean, even though I know the Permatex Right stuff works really well to not make a mess. Just making sure. I can see a little black smush coming out, so that's perfect. Nailed it. Dang, I'm good. You gotta take pleasure in the simple things in your day. A lot of people in traffic don't like me sometimes, but a little too slow. Drivers here are just nuts. They are just so aggressive. Remember when I lived in Indianapolis, how nice the drivers were. My first day getting off work at the distribution center for Napa, I go home, go to get off the freeway, I'm all getting aggressive, ready to just really stick my car out there and make it happen. I put my turn signal on, I check my mirrors, I'm just going to go for it and just stab that car right in there like I was raised to do. And there's no cars, they moved. They totally let me in, they're so courteous. Never forgotten that. I just thought, this is amazing. It's no wonder that people aren't getting killed, you know, just like 10 people a month in the summer. Like my home state. 10, 20, 30 people die every month in the summer. Everybody's in a hurry. Nobody cares about anybody. These have green Loctite on them, so that's why they go in so rough. Doesn't sound too good, but they're going in great. You see how there's just a little bit of Permatex Right stuff sticking out, and I had it in the middle. That's perfect. That's exactly what you want. So I'm going to clean off just the bottom part of it on this side so I don't wear it, because I typically put these in by hand. I just pick them up and throw them in. It's easier with that cross member. So anyway, it'd be nice to just pull this off from the while it's in the car, but you can't. There's a couple of problems with it. One, it's hard to get to this, and two, like I said, the cross member, everything's covered in oil typically. It's just a mess. I just grab it down. Duct tape. Is there anything it can't fix? So getting the snap ring back on is a little tricky. You need the weight of this to all go down, but you can't be setting it on the workbench or else it pushes the shaft up. When you look inside to do the snap ring, there's just a very narrow channel on the side that you're working with. Let me zoom in there. So when we look in here, you can see that I've got everything lined up now. But before, I had the snap ring where the bottom of the bearing is here. But basically you need the bearing to fall into that snap ring. You want gravity to help you. And then you don't have to use snap rings or anything. You just take your screwdriver and the bearing holds it by the weight of the shafts and everything on it. So you just push one side to the left, it clicks up in, the other side, and then you hear a big clunk and it all falls into place like that. You might have to do a little fine tuning with the screwdriver to get it to go in, but you're just going to be in great shape if you do it this way. Let me zoom back out and show you what I'm working with here. Got this on the DeWalt on one side. Got my little 3/8 impact on a board, and I've got a duct tape roll sitting underneath of it there. Nothing high tech, nothing real fancy. Just be careful that you don't lose it and have it fall on your toe. You clicked the thumbs up, right? Nice.